Welcome back to Piano Player Reacts. Today we're going to be talking about Sturgill Simpson. We're going to be reacting to him playing You Can Have the Crown Some Days live at the Sun King Brewery. So, I really like Sturgill Simpson. I'm a big fan. I mean, pretty casual fan, honestly. I haven't really listened to a lot of his stuff. One of my friends is a big fan of his. I've seen him live, and I really like his stuff. I think he's a really amazing musician. I think his band is really good. And but who's better? You know, is he or is Waylon Jennings better? Now, you know, this is definitely going to ruffle some feathers, but I would argue that I like him better. I like Sturgill Simpson better than Waylon Jennings. I like Waylon Jennings. I've probably heard more of his stuff, but I'm just not as big of a fan of his music exactly. I like the rhythm and the pacing and the style of Sturgill Simpson. I feel like his music is a lot more upbeat, you know, whereas Waylon Jennings is a lot more laid back. I also just like Sturgill Simpson's voice better. I just think he has a stronger voice. I think he has like one of the strongest voices I've like ever heard. That's one thing we'll talk a lot about here. But yeah, as much as I like Waylon Jennings, I do prefer Sturgill Simpson. And obviously, I feel like that's a good debate to have because I feel like they almost sound exactly the same. You know, they really do. I mean, he sounds like a couple different people, but it's almost striking how much he sounds like Waylon Jennings, and he sings in that same twangy, like Western swingy style there. I think you can see my Steely Dan sticker on my fridge behind me there. Anyway, before I talk too much more about who's better, we'll get more into that. Let's start the song real quick.
Well, I've been spending all my money on weed and pills, trying to write a song that'll pay the bills, but it ain't came yet. Guess I have to rob a bank. I guess it could be worse, ain't that bad. At least I ain't sitting no Baghdad in the middle of the hot day of death, sitting in a tank.
Yeah, I'd say one of the things that is so impressive about his music is just how fast moving it is. I mean, it's really hard to play music like this. I've gotten, you know, I've learned a lot about music composition over the years. I like to write my own songs. And I think that, like, for me personally, one of the hardest things to do is write really fast moving songs that have a lot of lyrics. I generally like music that doesn't have as much lyrics, or like the verses are shorter. You know, in country music, the verses are long. I'd say in country music, almost more than any other type of music other than like rap music, there is more words to it. I mean, this song alone has a lot of verses, you know, and you're singing very quickly. You know what I mean? In country music, you sing very quickly. You don't sing in the same way you would in like a rock song or like a blues song. You're talking very quickly. It's not easy to write music like this. It's really difficult. And this song is also an example of like a quick chorus, right? A lot of country songs are like this, where like the chorus is very quick. It's only like a line or two, and it comes and goes very quickly. Because, you know, there's different types of choruses you can write, obviously. You know, you can write choruses like in Reeling in the Years, the chorus is like, you know, is like almost just as long as the verse. You know what I mean? It's a really long chorus. That's a great example of that. So you can do that, and then you can also do songs like this where the verses are super long. You know what I mean? I'll make up most of the song, and then like the catchy part, the part where the song title gets its words from, is very quick, and you almost miss it if you're not paying attention, right? But yeah, just really impressive. Just like Waylon Jennings, honestly. Waylon Jennings, same thing. Any type of music like this, I'm just impressed by like the singing, because like whenever I write music, I like to write songs where, you know, there's a lot of gaps in between the singing, you know, kind of like Doobie Brothers, Steely Dan, rock kind of stuff. And there's like, the singing is more vibrato, right? There's less words, but this stuff right here, It's hard. I mean, it's hard to play and memorize like all those words at the same time, but you know, it's pretty incredible. But let's keep going.
Well, time the wife talks, so baby gets mentioned. I'm so broke, I can't pay attention. Lord, how it tears me up to have to see her crying. Oh, I've been spending all my nights on the internet, looking for a clue, but ain't found one yet. Just a bunch of Mopars, guitars, and other shit I can't find.
All right, I'll pause right there also. I really like, I'm just noticing this now, I really like the tone of that bass player. First of all, that's a great bass. I love that bass. I've never seen a bass like that. That looks like a Fender Precision. It's got the two knobs. It's got that awesome like vanilla wafer color, but his tone is great. He's got that nice like low end bouncy tone where like it's not cutting through the song really hard, but it's kind of sitting flat in the back. But it's also got like a bouncy sound to it because it's a precision bass. It's not a jazz bass, so it's got that nice like a pop like a bouncy tone to it rather than like a really thick gelatin tone like you know jazz basses usually get. But yeah, listen to this bass tone. That's a great bass tone.
Well, now, Lord, if you can hear me, you won't throw a damn dog a bone. If a devil shows up with a deader deal, his whole soul's going down. Oh, I sing 'em real pretty, sing 'em real sad, and all the people in the crowd say, ain't happy. Well, now call me King Turd up here on Shit Mountain. If you want it, you can have the crown.
See what I mean? See what I mean? The chorus just comes and goes so quickly. Like, it's a very short burst chorus, which, you know, is in a way just such an effective thing to do. I mean, you can do so many different types of choruses, but, and also the music doesn't stop here. I've noticed there's two different types of short choruses. There's the types where the music kind of pauses and has like cymbal hits, right? And the drums stop and just play like feels, right? That happens in a lot of Steely Dan songs, or also just any type of music. That happens a lot. And then you have your type of short choruses where like the drums keep going. The drums don't drop the beat. They don't turn into feels, and the beat just keeps going. And that's just really awesome. That just has a really badass, awesome sound and feel to it when you do that. And that's what this song does. You notice when the short chorus hits, the drums don't stop. The drums don't start playing feels and stuff. There's no stopping, right? The song keeps moving very quickly. And there's also no sustaining of chords. The song just keeps rolling very quickly, as if it's one of those choruses that feels like it's just part of the verse rather than a separate part, which is a really efficient music composition technique to do. But let's keep going here.
Well, I've been sitting on my ass like a bump on a log, watching Andy and old Boss Hog. I guess I ought to get up and go out and find a job. Instead of sitting on the couch trying to find the next line, I'm sure there's gotta be a better use of my time, like figuring out which one of them banks I'm gonna go rob. Well, the name of the game is hurry up and wait low, but that ain't putting no food on my plate or gas in my car. Not to drive a Bronco.
All right, I'll pause real quick. Also, if you guys know who that drummer is, comment down below who that drummer is, because I don't know who that drummer is. But I'm really impressed by him. I don't know if he plays on all his music or it's just like this lineup specifically, because I'm sure he has different lineups. But that drummer, that's a great drummer. I really love great drumming. To me, you know, always. To me, I always say, like, you know, to have great music, you know, you really have to have a great drummer. And that's part of the reason why I don't really like Waylon Jennings' music as much, because I don't really like the drummers. I don't like the beats and the drumming in his music, honestly. But in Sturgill Simpson's music, I do. I don't know who that guy is, but his drumming is fucking great. is really really good drumming right there. Let's probably shouldn't have just dropped the F-bomb, but that's okay. Just one F-bomb won't be too bad. Let's keep going.
Oh, now, Lord, if I could just give me a record deal, I might not have to worry about my next meal, but I'd still be trying to figure out what the fuck wrong with Broncos.
Hey, speaking of F-bombs, look at that. That's hilarious. There's a coincidence.
Oh, now, Lord, if you can hear me, won't you throw the damn dog a bone? 'Cause if a devil shows up with a better deal, his old soul goes down. Oh, I sing 'em real pretty, sing 'em real sad, and all the people in the crowd say you ain't half bad. Well, they call me King Turtle.
Okay, that's always a sign that you're in a great band. I mean, pausing and stuff like that and holding the beat, I always love it when bands do that. That's awesome, because it's not easy to do. It's really not easy to do. What they just did right there, I'm gonna play it again. Or they you know, I'm sure they're counting in their head. I'm sure they did like a couple of measures or whatever. But that's really not easy to do. And it's also really awesome to put that in like the middle of a song. It just adds so much tension and like a different layer to the song. Let's look at that again.
Sing 'em real sad, and all the people in the crowd say you ain't half bad. Well, they call me King Turtle, Hill Shit Mountain. If you want it, you can have the crown. Well, they call me King Turtle, Hill Shit Mountain. If you want it, you can have the crown.
Yeah, really interesting how it just, the first part of the song, and it's like a two-part song, just ends on that verse right there. I really like that. I really love it when songs, that's another composition thing, to end your song on the chorus, right? Or really it goes back to the verse for a second, but it basically ends on the chorus. You know, it's always a really powerful, dramatic thing to not do an outro, right? To not jam out on the verse, but to just do the chorus one more time and then just sell out from there and just end it. And that's basically what it does. But I'm going to stop there. I'm going to do a part 2 to this song where I do the second part of the song. If you guys know who that drummer is, let me know. I'm going to look it up in between these next 2 videos. But don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. Check out my music on Spotify. Check out my music on my YouTube channel. I'll see you guys next time.